welcome to Mike Drops the Mic. I'm Mike Lyman. Today, I had an awesome conversation with former Steelers linebacker Stevenson Sylvester. So, Stevenson was drafted in 2010 by the Steelers. He was taken in the fifth round from Utah. He spent time in Pittsburgh, and today we talked about a little bit about his time in Pittsburgh. And we also talked about the upcoming game against the Cleveland Browns for Thursday Night Football. Listen to our conversation. Hope you enjoy. So, Sly, have you watched a lot of the Steelers games this year? Have you been keeping a close eye on the team?
Yeah. I've as much as possible. I'm back here on the West Coast, so I don't get the local games like I would if I was in Pittsburgh. But the last couple of weeks, of course, playing the Bengals, which were in the Super Bowl, and then last week versus the Patriots are high profile games. So I've been able to watch the guys and get used to the new roster.
Yeah, and speaking of new roster, I mean, this is the first season, at least in the time that I spent watching, that we've been without Big Ben. What do you think about the team so far without him? Mitchell's doing okay. I know I hear a lot of Kenny chants in the stadium and things like that, but I think we need to give Mitchell a little bit more of a chance. What do you think?
I agree. I think Mitchell's a great quarterback. I don't think Mitchell's an elite quarterback. Of course, he definitely needs a lot more years in the league to become that. But I mean, you don't get anywhere without experience. So you got to give the guy a chance. He can throw the ball as proven in the previous teams that he was a part of. And, coming from Buffalo, man, last year Buffalo was just simply amazing, learning under Dable, who, is having some great success in New York right now. I think Trubisky projection these last few years from Chicago to Buffalo to like he's gotten some great experience that he just needs to be able to execute on. Honestly, for me, I know a lot of people are worried about our offensive woes, but I think that goes more to scheme. I'm more into question Matt Canada than I am to Mitchell Trubisky. Because just as important as somebody is throwing the ball is somebody calling the plays, somebody calling the plays at the right times. The right scheme to go against this defense. That all plays hand in hand, and ever since I grew up people don't understand how important that is. Now, of course, you have elite athletes that make things happen. As far as when I played at Pittsburgh with Antonio Brown and Mike Wallace, Hines Ward, and Emmanuel Sanders, Heath Miller. You got guys who literally you get the ball in their hands and they make magic happen. But with things nowadays, with how things are officiated, you really got to scheme guys, and it's got to be perfect. And so, yeah, I definitely think that we need to give Trubisky a little bit more energy. Steelers fans need to understand the difference of is it really Trubisky or is it the play calling that's going on? But when I watch the film, I break it down. I look at more play calling, wrong scenarios, wrong technique as far as the execution of those plays. And that's nothing that we can hang our hat on Trubisky about.
Sure. And when you're talking about these different schemes and stuff like that, I feel like we're not taking any deep shots. I feel like we got the guys, we got Claypool, we just got Pickens, we got Deontay, we got playmakers, we got wide receivers who can make plays. Everyone knows Najee's an animal. Like he's a playmaker too. I feel like we got a lot of shallow crossing routes and a lot of outside stuff. Would you like to see the team take more shots downfield? I feel like the fact that we're not taking shots downfield, those guys are on defense. They're stacking the box, making it hard to run the ball because all they're anticipating is shallow crossing routes and things, just not downfield. Is that correct analysis, or what do you think about that?
No, I don't think that's correct. And with all due respect, I don't
No,
think
no,
that's
no. You're a
correct.
professional here.
Um, yeah, so here's my thing, and this is coming from the defensive perspective, looking at an offense, taking that approach. Everybody's like, oh, I want the big play. Everybody wants the big play. We don't have a Mike Wallace. Yes, George Pickens is great. Yes, Deontay Johnson's great. Yes, Chase Claypool is great. But we don't have that take a top off the defense. Mike Wallace was a different animal. And that's when I played there. Antonio Holmes was a different animal. And I think those things open up when you have a solid running game when we had those guys back in the day who took the top off, who took those deep shots with the big arm, and we got to understand, Big Ben's arm was bigger than most. That's why you call him Big Ben. And so throwing those deep balls and Ben's greatest asset is he could throw that 45, 60-yard bomb, off of an awkward leg with accuracy. A lot of guys can't do that. You can't throw it down the field with accuracy. And with the defenders nowadays, you got to be more accurate than anything, right? And so, like, and the reason why I object to your opinion about taking that is because if you go and you miss on those deep balls, your defense is right back on the field and you did nothing to the opposing defense.
That's true.
As far as you grind it out, you take the mid-range game, you mix it up between short passes, over the middle passes, the running game, and get it in. We have the most elite running back in the league. I think he's top three. I think Najee can be top three as far as his actual talent. Even last year, I felt like we put a lot of stress on Najee, and he just did some electrifying things. But I think he's one of the top three backs in the league, but we're not utilizing him well. And, people are stacking the box, but still, I mean, our offensive line, we need to, and honestly, this is how you get guys to block better in the passing game. And I think that's an issue, right? Trubisky doesn't have time to throw it. Piggy doesn't have time to throw it. If you get the offensive line going with the running game, they feel more confidence. People don't understand how important confidence is across the board. Yeah, we want to get our receivers confidence by catching the ball, but it starts up front, right? Our offensive line needs confidence. If you get them pancakes, they get overexcited where they're cheering. I'm telling you, you talk to Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, DeCastro. I'm naming guys back from my day.
Villanueva,
You talk
all
to
those guys.
yeah, Villanueva, Max Starks. You talk to those guys, Marcus Gilbert, and you understand like what gets them hyped about the game, and it helps them in the passing game too. Is when they're beating guys up in the running game, right? Because you make the defense afraid to come to you in the passing game. So the defense is more on the perimeter, which creates that great pocket for Trubisky, Ben Roethlisberger, Kenny Pickett to pass it. So it all starts with the progression, and Mike Tomlin is a running guy, so this is why I say we need to challenge Matt Canada more. It's because of implementing that, and in the running game, we got all of these guys who we got Fairmouth as a huge tight end. He's got hands, he can block, and we're not utilizing these guys the right way. And now we got TJ Warren or Ty Warren, I forget what his first name is, but we got Ty Warren in the backfield who's literally a bruiser. He's from Utah originally, he transferred to Oklahoma State, but like this guy is literally a bruiser who can get you those tough yards when you need it. Those Connor yards that we had before when we needed them, right? It's not the 60 yards a game. I think the 100-yard running back is Najee, right? But
Yeah.
we have an interchanging back who can block because he's
Yeah.
extremely physical,
I was gonna say
right?
I saw some footage of Jalen blocking there, Jalen Warren blocking, and man,
Jalen, I don't know why I
yeah,
said
Jalen. He's
sorry.
great. He is great though. He really is. Yeah.
Right. And so like you have a guy like that who can run the ball and pass block, which creates a threat. Defenses don't know if you're going to run with him or he's in there specifically to pass. You can't scheme against that, right? So I think that we really got to implement the run, the short passing game. The short passes is what builds confidence in quarterbacks. And as the fans, I know Steeler Nation is a very proud fan base, but you got to understand, as players, we hear what you guys are saying. We hear the boos. We hear you guys offering the running, the rookie quarterback at game 2. This is week 2. This
Yeah.
is week 2. I'm trying to do something here. Give me some time. As I said when we first started, is the only way you get better is with experience, right? Getting in the
Sure.
game, making it happen. And so, as far as the progression goes, those short passes build confidence for me to deliver the ball downfield,
Yeah.
right? And so, again, my whole woes with the offense, it starts up front with Matt Canada.
Okay, gotcha. And we talked about elite running backs. You're bringing up Najee Harris. Steelers play Thursday night football, big primetime game against the Cleveland Browns, and they got a couple of elite running backs right there in Nick Chubb and in Kareem Hunt. So, as a former linebacker for the Steelers, how do you stop? I mean, they have a great offensive line too. How can the Steelers prepare against two great stud running backs like that in Cleveland and try to do their best to limit the damage from those two guys?
Well, I think that's why football is the ultimate team sport, right? Is because we need all phases from special teams to offense to help out with the defense. If we limit, see, this is the issue right now, right? Is Pittsburgh? We're literally only averaging like 260 yards per game, right? Like, oh yeah, we're averaging 264 yards per game and only 80 yards rushing. That means that those two statistics right there are telling me we're have a crappy time of possession, which means the other team has more time of possession. We're only averaging 27 minutes per game of holding the football, and
Hmm.
that's late in the game when people had the lead already. So if you keep the ball away from the opponent, they're not able to rush as much, and you get up in points. If we're up 14 points, as far as the lead, they're not running the ball like that. And so offense helps out the defense. Special teams pinning Cleveland down into their side of their field helps the defense, right? There's a limited amount of plays that the opponent can do. So for me, we have an elite defense. Even without TJ Watt, we have an elite defense that can literally lead us into the playoffs and further. But it starts with the other things. If our offense is leaving us out to dry like they did in Cincinnati and last week against New England, we're going to suffer, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if they have the ball for 35, 36 minutes of the game, they're running the football. And so that's getting us tired. And so that's why I say, like, football is the ultimate team sport because not one player makes a play go. Not one player or one phase controls the entire game, right? Offense helps out the defense, special teams helps out the offense and defense. And so if we get those other two phases to complement the defense in this game, we're gonna run away with this with ease.
Mhm.
They're not confident at the quarterback position. They have a strong running game, is why they were beating the Jets until they weren't. And you see them come back in the Carolina game. They're a resilient team, but I feel like if we keep them on the ropes and we make Jacoby Brissett beat us, it only promotes success for us. And so, but that comes with compliments of the other phases of the football game. So the offense needs to help out the defense, and the defense the same. We get turnovers, we give the offense the ball. They need to run the ball, beat up on their defense, throw some intermediate passes. When they're stacking the box, we go over the top. But that will only happen if they're threatened by the running game. If nobody's threatened by the running game, everybody can play loose and believe in whatever. So
Sure.
I think the other phases will definitely help out our defense.
Now you played under Mike Tomlin in your time in Pittsburgh. Is his attitude different going into a rivalry week like this? Big primetime game against the Browns. Is it different, or what do you think he's talking to the guys in the locker room about heading into this short week of practice and getting ready for the game?
That guy is one level-headed guy no matter what week it is. The only time I ever seen him amped up or different from week to week, whether we're playing the Patriots, Packers, or Titans, was if we're playing bad as a team. So it doesn't really matter who our opponent is. He cares about how we're playing because however we're playing is going to be the result of the game. What biggest statement from him that I took under his tutelage was nameless gray faces.
Yeah.
There's nameless, like it doesn't matter who we're playing. If we play our game, we do what we're supposed to do, we should win every single week. But when we're not doing what we're supposed to do, that's when, you get a little worrisome. But Mike Tomlin, it doesn't matter who we're playing, whether it's the Browns or the Chargers or the Raiders or Tom Brady. It's all about us, and that's what I loved about being a Steeler is that we can literally control our own destiny if we do our jobs. Simple as that.
Sure. And what about you personally when you were going into a game like this? Did you feel more adrenaline? Did you feel any different going into a close rivalry week, or did you have the same mentality as Mike Tomlin that it's nameless gray faces and everything like that? Was a game like this more meaningful to
Well,
you or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely take, the leader, the head guy in charge, right? The head man in charge, you take his energy and you bring it even every week like that. And you take his focus and his impression on what it is. And you just understand the opponent is the opponent. It's going to be that every single week. Of course, you have more energy when you play the Ravens and when you're on the big stage of Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday night. But essentially, it is those nameless great faces. As a player playing under the bright lights, as a young guy, as I was in the Steelers organization. Playing on Sunday night and Monday night was a special treat, man, because you're playing in front of millions of people, not only in the stands but literally watching on TV, heading to the stadium. Is a thing of its own. But at the end of the day, you're playing the same old game you were playing at recess in third grade. So, I mean, yes, there's a little bit more attention to detail on national stage like Thursday night, but at the end of the day, same opponent, come with it, whether it's the playoffs or not. It's all about you making things happen, doing what you're supposed to do, and you'll come out on top.
And coming out on top, do we have final predictions for this game tomorrow night, Thursday night? How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, man, it's all about our offense. What offensive game is the Steelers going to play? With missing T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt was such a game changer, as you said, creating turnovers, creating pressure to help others create turnovers, getting 3 and outs on defense. Like we had a -5 turnover ratio in that Cincinnati game,
Yeah.
and and we still won that football game. There is no way we should have been even 14 points close in that football game. With that, we should have been blowing them out,
Yeah.
right? And we pulled that win out. But like Cincinnati should have never been close, and I think that is the effect of a player like T.J. Watt has on the game. So without him on the game, it leads to us being a complete team, right? We didn't get much offensive production out of that Cincinnati game, and we didn't get much offensive production last week in New England. So if we can get some great offensive production, I think special teams has been all right. They haven't been great, but special teams
Yeah.
has been all right. We get some production out of them. Our defense is good; they're solid, but when you give the opponent so much opportunity to do what they want, it makes it easy for them. So it all depends on if we're running the football. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris is doing a great job catching the ball out of backfield, and we're getting solid production. We're steadily, confidently running our plays. I think the Steelers can run away with this by 10 points. So I got a 30-21 victory. I think we're going to get 3 field goals out of it, and 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and 30-21 victory on Thursday Night Football.
I love the sounds of that. I love it. I hope it happens. I love the sound of that. Well, Slide, one of the last things I want to do here is for the interviews, I do something called 7 quick questions. It's just 7 short answer questions, just about you, so we can get to know you a little bit better. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What is your favorite movie?
If people are getting off at me, my favorite movie is Norbit. It's an Eddie Murphy movie where he plays like 4 or 5 different characters, but it's like a very low budget, like underrated movie, but it's just hilarious. The sketch comedy that's a part of that, I love.
Perfect. What kind of music are you listening to before a game? What's on your phone? What do you listen to?
Tupac. I used to get made fun of all the time by the old guys, James Ferrier, or Larry Foote. They used to get on me like, "What are you listening to? Why are you listening to '90s music? We all the way in 2010." But nothing gets me juiced up more than some good '90s hip hop, West Coast rap. I'm there all day.
And speaking of older guys on the team, my next question is who are some of the older guys you would consider mentors for you in the Steelers locker room? Would it be guys like Woodley, Harrison, Farrier, Foot, guys like that?
Everybody. I was close to all those guys. Those guys all had different points of view that could help you out. Ryan Clark. being the film guru that he was, how Ike Taylor got prepared for games. I absolutely loved, to Aaron Smith, right? Just the general, the way he went about his business. Brett Keithel, just the energy, and then Debo, just the guy who just everybody feared. And so, as far as how you mold yourself in a game, I had so many examples to go after, and Lawrence Timmons, the quiet sniper, that guy, he doesn't talk much, but that guy will hit you so hard.
Yeah.
James Ferrier, just the confident general. He just knew what he was doing at every moment in the game. So I can't really solely put it on one guy. Larry Foote was huge for me. He and I were really close, playing on special teams, second team, and then when we rotated in on the first team. So I had tons and tons of guys to model my game after.
Gotcha. Did you do any jersey swaps in your time in the NFL?
I was just telling my wife about that, man, and I was like, I missed that. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have did some jersey swaps. I wish I had. But I'm looking back at it, and when I got done with the Steelers, I ended up just getting tons of the guys on the team,
Okay.
jerseys. That's what meant the most to me. So I got everybody, all my guys on the team. I got Heath, I got Kiesel, I got Chris Kimiatu, I got Antonio Brown, Ben, Emmanuel Sanders, Ryan Clark. I got Troy. I got everybody's that I played with
That's cool.
jersey. Yeah, yeah.
You have them like displayed in like a man cave type deal, or what's it? What's that like?
No, no, man. I've been too lazy. I haven't even hung them up. They're all in the bin right now. But when I build my house here in the next few years, I'm gonna have a room that nobody goes in. It's my room. It's not even a man cave. It's
Oh,
fly
it's
cave.
okay. Yeah,
Right?
that's
Nobody
your
comes in
zone. That's
here.
your zone. That's
Uh,
cool. That's gonna be an awesome setup when that happens.
no question.
So, who were some of your favorite teams to play against?
Man, I wish I could say all of them. As a kid growing up, you watch this game, and so playing in all the different arenas, stadiums, it was just something to marvel at every single time. I loved going to Cincinnati when we played them on Monday night. It was just great when we played Baltimore on Thanksgiving Day. When we played Tennessee was my first away game. I missed the plane, and it was a whole other story.
Oh,
Um, Going to legendary New England in Gillette Stadium, playing in New York against the Giants. And then, I grew up a Cowboys fan, so playing down in AT&T Stadium for the Super Bowl, and then the years after that, that was legendary for me. Going to Oakland,
yeah.
all the because being a West Coast guy, you see a lot of West Coast games, so I saw a lot of Oakland games between the Broncos and Oakland, and in San Francisco and Oakland. So I can't really put a name on it, a single stadium that I love more. I like I have a lot of memories in the Mercedes Dome in New Orleans, so that was great for me as well. But there wasn't a single stadium that I could say would stood out above the others.
Well, you had great opportunities to play at a lot of them, so that would be hard to narrow down. My
Right,
last question for you, Sly. We got Super Bowl predictions. What are two of the teams that you think could make it to the Super Bowl, and how do you see that one going?
man. I've been thinking about it going back and forth a lot. I got a lot of bets between my friends.
Well, the Bills are the
Um,
favorites right now, and they're looking pretty darn good, but you're
Man, I
looking at the
can't.
team.
It's hard to go against them,
It is.
right?
It
Like
really
they
is.
they look so good, but right now it's so hard to go against a Patty Mahomes,
Yeah.
right? Patrick Mahomes looks so good, but my Super Bowl predictions are ah, I said the Giants and the Bucks, or not the Giants, the Bills and the Bucks.
Hmm.
Tom Brady against Josh Allen, young versus old for the last time. Um, but the way the Eagles are playing,
Yeah, the Eagles are looking really good. Yeah.
man, that was one thing I always hoped for. I always hoped for an Eagles Steelers Super Bowl so we could have a
Oh,
Pennsylvania
Battle
Super
of the
Bowl.
State. Yeah, Battle of the State
Uh
there.
that would have been awesome. But for me, I got final man. I'm gonna say the Bills and and the Buccaneers. Yeah, Tom Brady's on a mission this year. He looks like crap these first couple weeks, but I
Yeah.
think he's going to
He'll
turn it
figure it
around.
out. He always
He's
figures it
two.
out.
He's two
Oh,
and zero, man.
yeah.
And he has trouble in New Orleans all the time. Like if you
Mhm.
look at it, he's always struggled in New Orleans. It's crazy, and so he'll figure it out. He'll go on another 6 game winning stretch here. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's going to be back to normal." Normal Tom Brady. He's going to be good.
Can Josh Allen and the Bills, can they beat him in the Super Bowl, you think?
Oh, no question. Josh Allen has ice in his name. This guy doesn't care about any. He's not inferior to anybody. He does the way his trajectory from high school to college or to JUCO to Wyoming to the NFL. He took the route to where he struggled. He went through the mud. He got it out the mud, and he's not afraid of anybody. He's not gonna be like, oh man, I'm playing against Tom Brady. I'm shaking in my boots. I
Yeah.
think this guy, he's got ice in his veins. The way he played in that divisional round last year, and then the AFC Championship the year before, he ain't missing another opportunity. So I do think Josh Allen can beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl for sure.
I'd love to see that too. If the Steelers can't make it, I'd like to see the Bills do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Sly. I appreciate your time. And anything else you want to add here at the end?
No, man, go Steeler Nation. Steeler Nation for life, man. I'm good.
Let's get that win Thursday. Thank you.